Hey everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a base game speed build. I don't really ever build with just certain pack requirements. Sometimes when a new pack comes out, I will try to do builds with base game and that pack, but generally my philosophy when building, especially in The Sims 4, is if I'm spending all this money on all these packs, like why wouldn't I use them all? But I do realize that potentially can exclude certain people from downloading the content I made, especially with my last video, my last speed build, where you literally needed to have like pretty much all the packs to download that. So to try to rectify that and be a little more friendly, I decided I wanted to do a base game starter home. So it's not really a starter home, but it is a starter home price. It is a 3-sim max kind of house. There's like a room upstairs for parents. There's a double bed, as well as there's a single bed downstairs for either like a kid or a teen. I don't think a toddler can sleep in the bed. But like you could definitely go in and like switch it up if you wanted a toddler or a baby in there. My idea was this definitely could be a good starter home. So if you create one sim, they should be able to move in. It ends up coming to be around 19,000 simoleons, and 20 like every time you create a sim, they start off with 20 simoleons. So you definitely have some money left over, but you definitely are going to need to get a job pretty quickly before those bills roll in if you decide to download this. But if you also decide to make a family and create a sim, like, you know, maybe a mom, a dad, and their child, like definitely you'll start off with something like closer to 30 simoleons, I believe. So you'll definitely have more money left over. But essentially what I wanted for this was any sim, I guess, either a single or a small family could buy this and they would be able to afford it. I'm not really calling it a starter home anywhere here, but it is starter home priced. I will say it's probably like a little more expensive than any starter home I would usually make when I usually make starter homes, which is very rare. But when I do, I try to keep them under 20, like closer to like 16. It like is usually when I'm like, okay, this is getting a little pricey. But with this one, I definitely went a little over, but that's because my idea was probably anyone who downloads this would either be starting off with a 3 family, or they might start off as a single sim who maybe just, you know, wants to buy their first house and, you know, maybe potentially get married and they won't have to move. I think this is also a good house for if you're doing like maybe like a legacy or kind of a generations kind of gameplay, where you start off in this home and as time goes on you can either like update it or change it. It's a little bare right now, a little sparse on the inside when it comes to decorations, so that's definitely something you can work to, should you choose to want to. If you were to download this and want to, I don't know, start off with the bare minimum and as time goes on maybe decorate the house a little bit more, maybe eventually move out or add on an addition. This house does change, not too much, but it does get a little thicker, a little thinner. I do change up some things in my ID, because essentially I just kept going back and forth and I was struggling a lot because I knew I didn't want this to be a 1 sim home, but I was like, okay, so I needed to have room for everything it needs, as well as I need it to still look decently good. Back here, you see where I'm building that like bump out with like a little porch area, I end up getting rid of that completely, partially because originally my idea is like, oh, that could be the restroom, a bathroom, but yeah, no, I end up changing the floor, or when I go into the floor plan, I end up just changing it slightly, so that there can be room for a bathroom and get rid of this bump out. I got rid of it mostly to save on simoleons, as well as I just didn't really like it. It looked like an addition, which I would rather, if anyone downloads this, to like, you know, create your own editions and try to play with to see how that would look. Another reason I want to do this is because I kind of wanted to prove to myself that you don't really need anything other than the base game to enjoy this Sims 4. I think that there's this idea that the Sims 4 base game is kind of unplayable, which I understand. When they first came out, it definitely was. Definitely now with all the new updates it has, it definitely is a lot more playable. It definitely is still missing a lot of meaningful gameplay that you can get through the other expansion and game packs, but that doesn't mean I don't think it's unplayable. Like, definitely when it first came out, I would argue, yeah, probably not the best, but I've stated this before on my channel. I believe with since we're entering this new kind of like computer era, digital era, I mean, not just entering, but the further we go into it, it kind of makes more sense to me that base games don't need to, upon launch, need to be 100% complete. That's, I think, why I kind of cut The Sims 4 a lot of slack for the things it was missing in its initial launch. However, I understand there's a lot of people who don't feel that way, but I don't know, I just thought this was a good way to show, you know, there's still a lot you can do in the base game. You can still make a really good home. And I think I was trying to prove that mostly to myself, because I'm constantly like, oh, I can't build a good home in The Sims 4 with the base game. Like, no, that's not possible. I need my Strangerville, and I need all these packs. So part of it was kind of me reminding myself, like, hey, no, you can do it. And I'm actually pretty happy with this house. After this, I do plan on building like a mansion. And I haven't started yet, but I want to do a base game mansion and just kind of see how that comes out, because that's another thing that, like, I just feel like if someone told me I couldn't do it, or like, oh yeah, you can do it, I'm like, I don't know. I definitely, you'll see shortly, as I end up making the house wider, because up on the second floor here where I want to put the master suite, I was like, yeah, this is not gonna work. So I do make it a little wider, and I definitely wanted to use the configurable stairs, even though they are more expensive than just using basic stairs. But I just, for me personally, I was like, you know, I just need that, I just felt like I needed to have the configurable stairs, because for one, they take up a lot less space, or even when they aren't taking up less space, they just, the way they work just makes so much more sense, because they can be more compact, and in like some ways, yes, they're taking up the same amount of space, but like in a different, more, I guess, not sustainable, but in a lot more of a smart way. I can't think of the right word at this moment. If someone in the comments knows what I'm talking about, feel free. But you know, essentially I just wanted to be able to use the stairs in a way that just felt more intuitive. But yeah, those bump outs also on the sides there, I end up changing them again. They're gonna get smaller, even though I know I just made them bigger. I also get rid of all of the pretty much almost all of, except for the ones at the back and the front, but all of the columns. Even though I like how it looks, I was just like, I can't afford to have this. It's got to go. Because that's the thing when you're trying to make a base game, like, priced home, you really need to make sacrifices. And it's really funny too, because even though I was, you know, I say at the max, this is like a 3 sim house, I was still trying to go for that single sim budget. And I think also because I also wanted to prove, not just myself, but maybe some other people in the community, you can build a pretty good home just under 20,000 simoleons. I'm not saying it's the best home ever. It's definitely one of those ones where as your Sims gain more money, you'll be able to buy better things. Like, there's definitely room for a computer. There's definitely room to get a better TV. You know, better, you know, you can get better lights, better furniture, but that's all things I'm like you can get later in the game. I think it just depends on what your gameplay styles, and I kind of go between two different games, kind of two different game styles when I go in. Either I want my Sims to have, and it really just depends on who those Sims are. Like sometimes I'll build a really nice mansion and they'll have everything that they need. I'll, you know, cheat them a really nice budget, and the reason for that is like for those Sims I'm not interested maybe in a life gameplay, or kind of just trying to simulate how it is in the real world or whatever. But then sometimes I just want to, you know, sometimes I sit down and I'm like, I just want to make a nice little family, see how long I can get them to last, as well as see what I can do with their house later down the road. And usually in the past when I've done that, I've created like one floor, one bedroom, like ugly homes. But you know, here I definitely was like, you know what? You know, maybe the Sim who bought this house, like maybe, you know, the reason it's so cheap because, you know, maybe it doesn't have the best appliances. Because, you know, in reality speaking, a 2-story home with this kind of space really shouldn't cost the same price as a 1-floor, 1-bedroom home. But you know, you can definitely come up with your own story. Maybe it's haunted. Maybe it's just in a really, like, it's just kind of neglected, kind of fallen behind, not enough outlets, you know. I think you can definitely come up with reasons on why it is more not as expensive as it should be. The landscaping also, I use complete debug, the live edit objects cheat, and that's because I really needed to save some money. If I was to do this maybe with a 1-bedroom, 1-floor house, maybe I could have done better landscaping, but I was kind of like, eesh, I need to save some money. And that's another thing, because I think I don't really pay attention when I'm building, even though, like, to the prices. Here I was definitely a little bit more conscious about, okay, what's the cheaper options? And I definitely, for I think almost everything went for the cheapest option. I think there's a few items here or there, or a few swatches where I picked maybe not the cheapest, but like the next more affordable. You know, I just kind of, I don't know, I was like, you just gotta mix and match. Like that oven, I don't think is the cheapest oven. I ended up switching though for the cheaper version. Because, you know, sometimes you just need to save some money. Here you see I'm changing the shapes of the sizes of the bump outs. Shortly after this also, I tried to make that that empty one here, into a bedroom, and then I ended up switching it with the bathroom downstairs. You'll probably see it in a few minutes. The reason for that is, like, it does not make sense for a bedroom to be smaller than the bathroom, no matter, like, you know. Here the oven disappeared, and I didn't realize that it had gone into the cabinet, so I ended up getting the cheaper oven. I ended up finding it later and just getting rid of it. But yeah, see here, I'm getting rid of this bathroom, and that empty room right next to the dining room is what's going to become the bathroom, which then will become a bedroom. Because then I was like, wait, why is the bathroom, like, significantly bigger than a bedroom? I was like, that's... And even though I know it's like a teen's room, like, if I were to make a family for this house, they would probably have a teen, maybe a child. I definitely think I do want to build a family and get them ready, maybe have, and do a teen and get them ready for university, which is coming out later this week. But yeah, you see, I just got rid of it completely, and I ended up just doing a back door, to the backyard where I do like this ugly patio. That's like another thing I was thinking, you know, I could this family, as they raise money or earn that dough, they could definitely eventually move into, or not move into, eventually get better material, or better just like outdoor stuff, because yeah, the house and the backyard is pretty pathetic. Yeah, like not my best landscaping, I'm gonna be honest, not my best use of space, but I had spent pretty much the whole budget on the house, and like there's barely anything in the house. Like it's pretty bare minimum. There's not even a computer. They have a really bad TV. They have like a very cheap fireplace, as well as like all cheap appliances. Like they don't even have a microwave. So like I was like, we'll work on the backyard later. That'll come with time when they're less poor. But I definitely had a lot of fun with this. I'm very excited for when I go in to build my base game mansion. Oh, as you see here, this bathroom is going to become a bedroom, because I also realized after I had furnished this room, I was like, there's nothing in here. This is the worst bathroom. But I'm very excited to do my base game mansion, because that's another one, because I like to build a lot of Victorians, a lot of big style homes. And I'm just, and I think a part of me is like, oh, you can't, the base game just like isn't meant for that. I'm like thinking, you know what, I feel like I could do it, and I'm gonna prove myself wrong. And I haven't decided on what the style's gonna be yet, or what era. I was thinking it might be easier to do something mid-century with what's offered in the base game, but I don't really know yet. That table there with the TVs on ends up becoming a fireplace later, because I realized for anyone who has seasons installed, you're going to need some form of warmth in this house. Instead, I did a completely base game. There is no thermometer, which also, if you have seasons, you can go and add that. But I was just kind of thinking ahead of time, because I probably wouldn't. I'd probably just keep it as is. But there I put a little bookshelf, because I realized that they need something to do, because the Sims who live here, they're definitely the only activities they have are TV and that bookshelf. Luckily, at least for me, I deck out community lots all the time with like activities, so even if there's nothing at home because they're poor, they can definitely go out. That's another thing I've been working on my new on my save file, and that's really what I've been trying to do, is when I have these starter homes that have nothing, to just really make sure that the community lots have a lot of things, not just for them, but also just because it gives any sim more gameplay, and it also gives me a lot more of a I guess initiative to bring my sims there, because sometimes I'll build these very elaborate builds and homes, not homes, but like community lots I'm very proud of, but I won't put a lot of gameplay items in them, and then I'm like, ah shit, this is pretty much almost like useless to go to. So that's definitely something I've been thinking a lot more on. That's definitely something my what's the bill? My Magic HQ lot, I don't think has a lot of activities. A lot of the activities on there are very based around magic learning. I definitely probably could have put a few more other items in to just make it a little bit more worthwhile, but maybe that's something I'll do before I release my save file. But if you download it off the gallery now, yeah, it's pretty much got only stuff for Magic users, so apologize to anyone who was gonna go to the realm of Magic and was like, oh, we're gonna explore and play some chess. Yeah, no, I did not add any chess tables, sorry. But yeah, that's definitely something I've just been thinking more about, is how to make my community lots just so much more, like, I don't say useful, but like worth going to. Anyways, we're wrapping up here soon. I wonder if there's any updates I can bring up. Not really. I don't have any updates right now. Other than I got a few more videos coming soon. I'm very excited for University to come out because I have so many ideas. I've been watching a bunch of videos on it and all that new stuff. As well as I'm very excited to see if the sorority house I built can be placed on any lots. Because even though you could make any world essentially a community or a college town, I definitely want it in Brightchester. That's just a personal preference, but I'm gonna wrap up my voiceover here. We're gonna I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to like and subscribe.